All right, here with our buddy Street Sarrett, coach of the Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles. Street, so this week you got Bluefield coming up, and we understand that's going to be the last game. I mean, do you consider that a rivalry, and how bad do you hate to see it?
It always was a rivalry when they were a powerhouse AAA. Beckley's a powerhouse AAA, and just lack of population and enrollment at schools just really hit Bluefield hard. It's hit us hard, but we're staying 4A and they've dropped to AA, and so it's just not feasible for us being a 4A to play a AA. And we had a 2-year contract with them, and we're going to honor it, and we're just going to move on to playing all 4A schools on our schedule.
I think that's kind of what you almost have to do.
We're
4A, you're not hamstrung by the by too many teams, because there's not.
Right.
But you are hamstrung if you don't.
Well, this is the travel part of it that gets us with the 4A and playing all 4As. But we're going to make it work, and we're just going to move on and just try to get all 4As on our schedule and just have a good season.
It looks like they have a pretty potent offense. Didn't really show against Princeton, not many people do.
Right.
But then when they needed scores against Graham, they got them. When they needed scores against James Monroe, they kind of built up.
They did.
Very good. A nice offense, and Max Simpson's pretty good.
Very good quarterback. Gets the ball to those athletes, those young athletes that Bluefield has, gets it out there in space, throws a great deep ball. And man, he's run a few. So he's a player, and he's going to be hard to handle. We're going to have to be on our top game on defense.
Offensively, were you happy with what you did against Parkersburg? It's
been a
long time since you got a win up there.
Our offense, it kind of puttered a little bit last week, and we didn't get some things. Getting backs wasn't hitting the holes the right way, and that's the first week we've had Tyrez Jones back on our line, so that was a big help. But our defense played the way they needed to. Got a lot of turnovers for us, put us in some good field position, and that helped us score. And then there in the fourth quarter, we just got the ball, and we got a strip sack for a 6, and we got a big ball to Preston Clary for 6, and we just moved the ball running, just moving it down the field. So hopefully our offense will keep producing.
I want to talk to you about one of your players, first team All-Stater last year, AJ.
Yep.
Tom's an outstanding player for you, and it doesn't look like you're getting a lot of interceptions. You're not getting a lot of opportunities.
No, they're not. I don't believe too many people throwing AJ's way. AJ's doing a good job. Like you said, he's first team All-State defensive back. AJ and Preston back there, they're just it's good to have 2 seniors back there that you can trust to play that defense and come up and help with run support.
AJ, he also looks to be one of those like Swiss Army knives, we call him. That you like to have on your team. A guy that he's playing in the backfield, plays some wide out.
Plays wide out, plays in the backfield, plays DB. He can returns punts, returns kicks. AJ's just an all-around athlete.
What makes him so dangerous for you?
Just so how explosive he is. Explosive. If you've seen him on the field, how fast he can get from one spot to the other, how he can jump. You watch him play basketball, plays that tough-nosed defense Beckley basketball likes to play, and you just he cares. That's the thing I like about him. It means something to him to put that jersey on.
With him, and then you got Preston. What are the improvements that Preston's made? Because he came out last year as his first year.
Preston's leaps and bounds, man. He's really bought into being a football player, and he is a football player, and he studies the game. He's very intelligent. He's another coach on the field when it comes to studying opponents and knowing what they're doing. Watch his film. He talks like a coach when we watch film. So Preston's really improved. I'd hate to think if he'd have played all 4 years of high school football.
What he could have been, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be. He's going to be.
You talk to AJ about it being, sometimes he gets frustrated when nobody's coming your way.
Hey,
you talk to him about this.
Yeah.
This is a show of respect, man.
Show of respect, and it's just one of those things. And there's going to be people that test him. We'll get into the meat of our schedule here, and they'll test him. We'll get tested Friday night against Bluefield. They won't be scared to throw to him.
Well, and they seem to throw it all over the field, too. Are you about where you wanted to be? I know you probably weren't too happy about week 2, but...
we laid an egg week 2. I hate to think of laying an egg against Greenbrier East, but we did, and just turned that ball over too much. We got a big win against South. That was good for us. So, we're getting ready to play Bluefield Friday night and come out of the break. Goal be 1-0 on Friday night, and that'll put us 3-1 for the going into our open week, and so to get ready for some games down the road there.
All these guys, I don't know if I directly talked to you about this, but and I probably did last year. How important it is for you guys as coaches, and it's always important. The kids want to play a home playoff game. How important is it for you to set up this, so you can make that happen?
Home playoff game, I'd love it for these kids in this town. They haven't had one since 2001. And just the experience of having your home crowd with you is just, I'd rather walk out of the school and come over here and get ready for a football game than get on a bus and drive 4 hours and have to get that jet lag out of you and all that stuff. But it would be important to these kids. I think they deserve it, and they talk about it, and it'd be a big thing for them to win a home playoff game.
Hate to see Bluefield off the schedule.
I do. A lot of tradition, a lot of great coaches have coached against each other in that game. And, Coach Simon, he's been coaching there for 40-plus years, won multiple state championships, and just a very outstanding coach. Got Coach Spadero on his staff from coach at Princeton all those years. Those two guys, knowledge of football they have. And, just like you said, just a tradition of Beckley Bluefield. If you go back and look through the histories of it, there were some games that meant some playoff stuff and knocked Beckley out of the playoffs one year. And so, I just hate to see it go, but that's just the nature of the world nowadays.
I think it's year 3 of the turf here. How would that help the program?
Of the turf?
The turf being
yeah. The turf being here is just outstanding. Just the everyday practice and being able to get out on it no matter how hard it rains. And just the spacing, before we practiced on the old field down there behind the school, no numbers, no hash, no out of bounds. And then you get on a big field, it's got all that, and kids, man, they figure out, hey, a football field's big. And so now it's really helped us in that aspect of it.
Street, I always appreciate your time. Good luck on Friday down at Bluefield.
Hey, thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.